Hi everyone, today I will be an IT Ops in charge of deploying a brand new application for a developer. For that, I need to automate a process, and I will use Operation Orchestration with a new web studio to do that. I will go to my project and I will create first a new workflow, a brand new flow. I will name it EC2 deploy app, and I will use the content out of the box, the 8,000 content provided on the item marketplace in order to automate this process. I do have content for the basic operation using SSH, API, PowerShell, and so on. Or I can use VMware content or Amazon content if I want to deploy in EC2 a new instance on the fly. Let's do that. Let's deploy a EC2 instance. The first thing is you need to configure some inputs. The identity in order to connect to the Amazon provider, the credential, and then the image ID, which image you need to clone, the AMI image, the instance type, and that's it. Then I want to get some outputs when I will create the VM, such as the instance ID, host name, and the IP address. Okay. I would like to notify the end user, in this case, a developer, and the dev team are using Slack for collaboration. And my goal would be to push with the orchestrator, the information and the details of the VM for my developer. For that, I will use Slack, the content we provide out of the box, to post this message. I would just have to drag and drop and connect deploy instance to post message and set the success once it's finished. Of course, I need to set up some parameter for post message. The first thing is a token in order to connect to the Slack API and the channel, but also the text I would like to push. For this matter, let's say the message will be your service is ready on EC2, and then I give the instance ID as a parameter. Then maybe I can say you can access your application here, HTTP, and then I just have to specify the IP address. I just have to save. I don't need any outputs, and I can save my workflow. Inside the Web Studio, we do have an embedded debugger to troubleshoot as an IT ops, workflow developer, workflow author, the workflow I'm developing right now. When I click play, it automatically plays locally on the Web Studio, all the steps to deploy the instance. If I go to EC2 from AWS, I can see a new virtual machine provisioning on the fly. And we should be able to see in few seconds in Slack a new message coming. Here we go. Your service is ready on EC2. This is the instance ID and the IP address to connect to my application. As a developer, as a consumer, I just have to click and I will be able to access to my application. Of course, the orchestrator deploy on the fly EC2. We can leverage DCA in order to deploy the application or Puppet or any kind of config management tool. Then the developer can put his password and click login, but unfortunately, we see login failed, reset password required. So we did a first use case, which was request to fulfill, but during the run or during the provisioning, sometimes you need to reset the password for on behalf of the end user. And for that, we will do it directly in the orchestrator. So let's do it. But the first thing is we need to generate a password, right? And to generate the password, we want to be compliant with the IT. To generate a password, the IT requires. A few years ago, we decided to open source the engine of operation orchestration. The name of the project is CloudSlang, and a team like the line of business can use CloudSlang as an open source project in order to do Python and YAML, orchestration with orchestration as code instead of using an enterprise core IT tool with orchestration as click. And we can all work together. So they just have to go here, click on fork me on GitHub, and they will be able to access the open source project. If I'm going back as a line of business, they can use their favorite IDE, IntelliJ in my case, in order to develop the script they want. They just have to copy paste the Python script just here, add a wrapper for the YAML code, and here we go. They can use it as it is in order to generate the password. And instead of using a UI and using the tool from the dev, they just have uh, to use CLI, and you can see the password generator working. All right. As a team, they will be able to push the code directly to the Git repository. They can contribute to core IT. If I'm going to Git and I click Git commit file, commit, it will automatically push this change inside the Git repository. As IT ops, I can go back to my Web Studio and just pull the changes pushed by this line of business. Once it's retrieved inside my browser, I will be able to go utility, and voila, I can see password, which is the same operation pushed by the line of business. I just have to go back to my um, you know workflow and add password just here to generate my password. What I need is just an output, which is the password. I can rename this output if I want to change it. And using this, I will be able to generate my password. Cool. And by the way, if I'm going here, I'm able to see the textual representation of the same workflow. Cool. But generating a password is not enough. We need to reset the password in the service management tool on behalf of the end user. And the end user has to open a ticket just for this task. Unfortunately, let's assume there is no API and it requires a user interaction. For that, we will use a robot. A robot we can leverage from the orchestrator in order to do the user interaction. So for that, I just have to go to RPA for robotic process automation and drag and drop the content out of the box I can use in order to leverage my robot. And the goal will be to create a ticket in order to make the change inside the service management tool. I just have to configure a few inputs, and the one I want is the ticket message. So for example, I can say I would like to reset my password to plus password plus, and for my instance, and I just have to give the instance ID. I just have to save, and then I will be able to save the flow and trigger again, my debugger. It will of course deploy a new instance inside EC2, and I will be able to see a new post message inside Slack, and then it will automatically, we can see a new instance just here, and it will push a new message here, generate the password, and then if I'm going here, this is a robot used by the orchestrator, UFT, in order to simulate the user interaction. You will see it in action in few seconds. Here we go. We can see UFT is triggered by the orchestrator. UFT is doing screen scraping and will be able to authenticate inside the service management tool. Here it's Max, but it could be anything else. And it will open a ticket on the fly using reset my password. And we can see I would like to reset my password for my instance. Cool. Yes. I'm going back to my flow. The flow has been executed successfully. If I want to log into my application, I have a new application, and this time I will be able to connect to my application. So we are during the run, everything is going fine, the developer is happy, they are able to use the application, which is a game, all right, and we can see product manager on the screen. And unfortunately, we are not compliant with the IT. Why? Because the IT wants us to respect, CIS benchmarks, and there is a CIS benchmark for Amazon Web Service Foundation. All right. Inside this benchmark, we have to respect many rules, and one rule is ensure no security groups allow ingress traffic on port 22. If I'm going back to my instance, what I can see is one security group is configured, name oo-demo-hacked, and we can see 22 is unfortunately open. So to solve this issue, we will do something. So we can use, of course, data center automation for CIS on the operating system. In the roadmap, we will have soon out of the box the same thing for AWS. But let's say we want to do this manually using the orchestrator. To illustrate this, I would like to use Lambda. So Lambda is a service provided by AWS for serverless. You can develop serverless function inside Lambda. For this demo, I prepared one script, Node.js script, in order to check, the security group, and if it's not compliant, notify, on Slack a new event. Okay, but let's execute this Lambda function directly from the orchestrator, and for that, let's use the content out of the box to invoke a Lambda action from the orchestrator. So we just have to configure a few inputs. Again, identity, credential, and availability zone, and Amazon function. And then we need to configure the payload. And for that, we need to have to pass the parameter we need. And we will pass these parameters, the IP address, the security group target, and the instance ID. I just have to save. And then we good to go. Just have to save and play. So it will do exactly the same step we did before, but at the end of the provisioning, it will do a compliance check and notify if there is something wrong with the CIS compliance. We will see like it's, if we go to monitoring, we'll be able to see view logs in CloudWatch, we'll be able to see the new action triggered, which will be triggered in a few seconds. And the thing is, if it's not compliant, it will automatically notify on Slack. And by the way, for the new reset password, I can see the reset password just here with the new ticket created by the end user. Let's see how it goes. It's creating a change right now. If I'm going back here, yes, I see that has been done. If I'm going back to CloudWatch, we are able to see, yes, a new uh, Lambda function has been triggered. If I'm going back now to Slack, which is a collaboration tool used by the dev team and the ops team, we can see a new event. We are not compliant with CIS. We can see the IP and the instance name. What we can do is use bots in order to solve this incident. So we have people and bots all together inside the same tool, Slack collaboration tool, and I can use Maestro to get topology, for example, in order to see, So the bot is asking me for authentication, you need to have the authorization to be able to access for the bot. And then I'm going back to the channel and can see I can ask Maestro to run a flow which is named SecOps remediation, and this workflow will ask me, the bot will ask me few inputs. The first input is the instance ID, so I need to specify the instance ID. Then I have to give the security group name, and it will trigger on the fly a new workflow inside the orchestrator to solve this incident. So just as a reminder, this is my instance. All right, I can see OO demo secured, so it has just changed because the flow has been executed right now. If I'm going back and click on view inbound rules, I can see the port 22 has been closed. And going back here, we will see that the flow has been executed successfully. All right, so now we have seen that we can do request to fulfill. We can uh, do a service request to reset the password, but also do the incident remediation. Let's see how the platform can scale and be used massively by the different teams inside the company. So this is a core pod. If I'm going now to the HCM one, I will be able to see all the pods running, including HCM OO. The platform autoscale, so it's just here, the platform autoscale OO based on the workload. So more users, more IT ops developer consuming the platform, more it scales. Another benefits will be in the future to be able to have OO as a service, because the platform will be multi-tenant, and you will be able to consume the platform. If I'm going back now to OO Central, you will be able to see in system configuration, topology, all the central. More it scales and more it adds on the fly inside the workers another central up and running.